this is a fun and so interesting new look into a way you could be growing your teeth whitening or tooth gem business. First thing is ask yourself, do you know what astrology is? And from there, do you know what your astrology is? So this chat, Melanie, is so insightful, and also it just like gives you kind of that extra little oomph to be like, wow, maybe it's not all just graphs and numbers. Maybe there is some extra little vibes going on out there that can also help me grow my business. So I met Melanie when I was in a mastermind, and she came in and did a presentation, and we got to learn kind of the basics about astrology and more about her business. And I was intrigued right off the hop. I did book a call with Melanie, which we do talk about in the show. And I firsthand experience have seen how interesting it is when you line up your business with astrology. I have definitely taken some things that we chatted together into effect, and I will say that it has been really helpful for certain aspects of my business. So I hope you stay with us during this episode. It is definitely a different topic than our usual, but it ties in perfectly to help grow and expand your business. So friend, let's dive in to how to grow your teeth whitening business with astrology. Welcome to Whitening Wednesday. I'm Rach, your guide in the teethpreneur industry. Each week, I'll share insider tips, inspiring stories, and practical advice to elevate your business. Tune in and let's make your success shine. Before diving into this week's episode of Whitening Wednesday, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor. Fern Whitening Supplies is your absolute one-stop shop for all things teeth whitening. If you are a teeth whitening provider, you need to be working with Fern. From chairside supplies to take-home supplies to monthly webinars, as well as exclusive membership groups to talk with go-getters in the community. Fern has it all. So if you are not a purchaser yet, go to www.fernwhiteningsupplies.ca to start growing your business safe and effectively. Let's get on with the show. Happy Whitening Wednesday. Today on the show, we have Melanie with us, who is a business astrologer who is going to blow our mind on what we can actually use astrology for. We can use this in our business and actually help grow and thrive in our 2024 season and beyond. So, Melanie, tell us, what exactly is astrology and how did you find it?
Right. So astrology, ultimately, if anyone's going to gain anything out of this podcast episode, astrology is the study of archetypes. So when we're talking about the archetypes, we're talking about the 12 zodiac signs. You got 12 zodiac signs. Everybody has a sun sign, which is their birthday. And then the actual zodiac signs are these archetypes. I'm not going to say it's a personality type, but it is an aspect of yourself. That's the best way to think about it. So say you're born October 12th, like myself, you're a Libra sun. Well, you also have your moon and rising sign. So those are your innermost self is your moon. The rising sign is the energy you're naturally emitting. The sun sign is the core archetype you're embodying throughout this whole lifetime. So if you want to figure out the archetypes, you're saying, okay, what is my sun sign? What's my core archetype? What is my moon sign? What is my emotional self? Like, what am I embodying there? And my rising sign, like, what is the energy I'm naturally emitting when people get to know me one-to-one? Of course, when you look at a birth chart, this is for everybody, we all have those 12 zodiac signs within us in differing capacities, differing levels. So those differing levels of the different zodiac signs within us is what creates our personality. And our personality is not necessarily just the way we act. It's the way we react to the world. So when you're saying someone has a big personality, it doesn't really make sense because you're saying they're reacting very big to the world. But some people are more introverted and maybe they're more observant before they respond. Other people might have a lot of Aries in them. So they're just out here taking action. It's very messy and they learn through chaos, which is fine. But of course, it depends on your personal compilation. When it comes to astrology, I grew up in the Greek Orthodox Church and I learned about astrology there in mythology, which doesn't really make sense. Like, why would we learn about Greek mythology at church? But whatever. So if anybody on here is listening is Greek, if you know, you know. They're all into talking about their history. So I actually learned about Greek mythology in Sunday school. And then when I applied astrology to my life's work, it like came together really quickly. So it is a masculine structure that is attempting to understand the universe we live in. It's very, very old, thousands of years old. So I find it a little more reliable to work with clients versus dealing with my own psychic intuition or tarot cards.
That's incredible. And so much to consider in all the things that you just chatted about. I can see how, all those just little underlying layers to each archetype on top of not only business, but so many areas of your life that you can put this into work into. So it is really interesting that you are focusing on business with this, because I can see how this can be so, so helpful, especially for us service providers. So let's talk about it. Now, you and I actually did a full session with you. It was incredible. And it was so interesting and also insightful to see, just even the odd little things, like something as simple as, I remember one thing that stood out between even just you and I was, for example, you were chatting about how you make income on cycles, as my chart was leaning more towards I could be making income in, sporadic times, like constantly. And that's really interesting because if we were to any service-based provider, if you understood what was not only in your birth chart, but you understood, okay, what is kind of my money cycle, then that would be huge if you could put that into power. Because if you are a cycle producer, then you obviously need to understand when your cycles are so that you can really implement on when it's go time and when it's pullback time and vice versa. So, there's so many things we could talk about, but I definitely want to focus in and hone on what we chatted about before we started was as service-based providers. So as our teeth whitening technicians are trying to get bums in seats, what do you think would be the most vital part of astrology and the birth chart that would be so important for them?
Okay. So when it comes to astrology, like traditional astrology, old school, you are understanding your particular birth chart, which is based on your birthday, right? It is also important for a business owner to understand their business birth chart as well. So if you're considering working with Rachel and you're going to become a teeth whitening specialist, look at your birth chart. Should you be working with the bones, right? Do you have a lot of Virgo placements, which is all about maintaining the physical body? Do you have a lot of Capricorn placements or 10th house placements, which is all about the teeth and the bones? So that's something to consider. Is that even what you should be doing? So it's very important. We're here to use a business astrology for efficiency. So yeah, that's just something I go over with every single person. Like, are you even doing what you're supposed to be doing? There we go. When it comes to understanding your business's birth chart, this is probably for someone who's been a little more established with the teeth whitening business. When is your business's birthday itself? So that's something that every individual has to kind of discern. Sometimes people choose the day that they made an LLC or an official business. And like sometimes they get the email confirmation and they use that birth time as like the business birth chart. So something to consider. So when it comes to applying astrology to business efficiency for service providers, I recommend everybody should look at their third house. When we talk about a house in astrology, it's an area of life. The third house specifically is about communication, messaging, storytelling, branding. So if you are trying to decide what social media platform to spend your time on, you got to look at the cusp of the third house. What it means is there's always a line that's on the right side of the number of the house that you're looking at. And that cusp is going to be in a specific sign. So, for example, my third house cusp is in the sign of Leo. That's where it goes into. Leo is the divine child. That's the archetype, the creator, the creative, the content creator, all about showing the face and showing your light, right? So, someone else might have their third house cusp in Virgo, which is all about being very practical. You're providing practical strategies. Everyone's learning from you. You're here to educate. When I was doing the practical thing when I started this business, I got some interaction, but people like didn't really care because my third house cusp was in Leo, which is like as soon as I show up online, I show my face. I'm very funny. I'm so hilarious. When I show my Instagram stories, and I'm not even necessarily talking about astrology directly, that's when I get kind of the more cash flow coming in. That's when I get people more engaged. So it's always important. So if you're going to look at your birth chart, I do have a video people can look up on how to generate their birth chart. But looking at that particular archetype that is ruling that third house of communication, branding, messaging, and storytelling will help you save so much time. So if you have Leo ruling the third house, like me, maybe a YouTube channel is the thing to be doing. Maybe Instagram, where you're showing your face a lot, is the thing. If you are a person that is very outgoing, of course, maybe Twitter or X, as they're saying these days, is not for you. It's text-based, it's combative. I don't know. I don't personally really like that platform. But maybe someone else, maybe they have Sagittarius, for example, ruling the third house, which is very much about a scholar, a student of life, a mentor to others. It's really into learning like this one subject really well. That person's probably really into writing. So maybe doing a blog for your teeth whitening business would actually be better for you. So of course, it depends on a bunch of other aspects going on your birth chart. But that's just a very quick way to discern real quickly, like, do you even like this platform? So I've met people that have been growing Instagram for like, what, 6 years? And they're like, I hate it. And so I'm like, well, what are you doing on there? Maybe the YouTube channel is more fun for you, or maybe cultivating the email list, which everyone should be doing, period, no matter what. But cultivating the email list is really the thing. If you want to cultivate an email list, but you hate writing long emails, then don't write long emails. Like, make the email list that you want to see. So that is my general advice. Check out the third house, see what's going on. If you're listening and you don't know what I'm talking about, please reach out to me on Instagram at I am Melanie Marisol, and I will answer your questions. But that's a very quick and easy thing to apply right away to get a quick win.
So many great tips. So that's actually a great way to segue into, we should kind of talk about what it looks like to work with you. Like we could even use when I worked with you for an example on how I chose which option worked best for me and what I was looking for as a business provider. And then how we met up and we did the full breakdown on, we kind of did the mixture of both, right? So it was a little bit of both of not only the birth chart, but then also focusing in on the business. So if one of our service providers is listening right now and they're like, oh, this sounds like the perfect thing. I would love to deep dive into my birth chart and kind of you can almost call it like the little cheat sheets. Like, as you mentioned, like instead of struggling and trying everything out, let's just cut the BS and just figure out exactly what would work best, right? So what would it look like if they signed up and they did a package with you? What do you kind of walk them through? How long is a session? And what can they then take that information and do with it?
Great. So for everybody listening, everyone can get access to my free gift, which is just an astrology crash course. It's a PDF. And you can find it at melaниemarisol.com/gift. That's just a good way to learn the basics of astrology in PDF form in under 20 to 30 minutes. That's a good overview. If you are interested in learning more, I do have a few master classes since I work with you. Those are available on my website. For those that are more about taking action immediately, my signature offering is my Aligned Abundance reading. It's 90 minutes. And that is about understanding what's going on in your chart. We'll be doing a client audit, maybe revealing some sleeper markets, reviewing the planet of greater fortune, the planet of lesser fortune, which is Jupiter and Venus. We'll be going over your money asteroids, just really looking at ways that you can unlock more cash money or cash flow and abundance. Rachel herself did the year ahead reading, which is a 2-hour business intensive. So that's more of like the big kahuna. Like we're here to plan, we're here to determine and predict what are the best dates throughout the year, what to keep in mind, understanding different planetary cycles that may affect you. So that is more of a more advanced business intensive for people that are like really serious, like ready to buckle down. I think if you're going to do an intro with me and you have no idea what's happening, definitely recommend the free gift. And I also recommend the Aligned Abundance reading, since that's more all about quick wins. You know, business owners are busy. They don't necessarily need to learn astrology at the proficiency level that I'm striving for. So this is more like practical right away. Let's get to it. I'm all about the quick win life.
Yes, right. We all need more time in a day. So I love that. And I found, I mean, there were so many takeaways when we worked together, but even something as simple as like a great example, I know a lot of our listeners maybe do pop-up events, or maybe they like have vendor booths at like holiday markets, etc., bridal shows. And something that just like sticks out in my mind exactly for them is like, you and I literally picked out some dates of some different vendor shows that I was interested in attending. And we pretty much just looked and said, what does it look like? Like, does it look like that's actually ideal for us to be doing at that time? And I remember, I can't remember if it was the fall or the spring one, but there was one that was straight up like, yeah, you're probably going to have some travel issues. So maybe
Mm.
that one's not for you, right? Like, so it was just so interesting to kind of get like a sneak peek and preview of, hey, like, does it actually seem like this is the right time for this specific investment? And again, all about timing. If we can have that crash course of, hey, you know what, right now, no, it's not. So that's one thing I would mention is if anyone is going to work forward with you, which I hope they all do, is really have an idea on what's you want to happen for your business within the next year. So then you can really narrow down on specific questions or specific dates with you. So you can definitely get the most, time value and make sure that you can really ensure that you are getting what you need to know for your next year, because you're going to get so much, which is incredible. But also narrowing in on what like you personally are envisioning also is a great tip too. So, what
Yeah.
else do you think would be great to mention on how astrology can really help our listeners move forward? Or do you have any fun stories from past clients that were they had a great aha moment after that they had a chance? What do you think?
Yeah, I will say this as well. Would you say most of your audience is women, or is like just only women?
I
The client.
find a lot of our audience is, and I feel like this is very standard, especially in the North American market, is a lot of service providers. So, say if we have dental professionals or beauty professionals, are tend to be more female based. So, I would say that I do find the majority of our audience are female business owners.
Okay, I will share this because this is kind of like my ethos and mission. 2020 has occurred, and everybody kind of went a little bit crazy, and it's a changed world now. So, as my partner says, he is a theologian by trade. We are entering in this new economy. So, it's the new world. We're entering into a new economy. Old paradigm business, which is mostly a bunch of older white guys, like God bless them, that kind of marketing is kind of dying out. So the bro marketing, the hustle and grind thing all the time. I'm sure there's very successful women who are working with you. They've had a really financially successful teeth whitening business. So if hustling and grinding turns you on and gets you jazzed throughout the day, that's totally great. We are also infusing more divine femininity into business. So masculine energy is going out, creating a structure, achieving, leaning into ambition and success. We like all those things. It's very much action energy. Feminine energy is about sitting back, chilling out for a moment, dreaming up stuff, being creative, planting intentions, planting seeds, and not running away, like not running into action immediately. So it's more receiving energy. So masculine energy goes out and takes action, feminine energy receives and then does the action. So when it comes to female business owners, if you are yourself find that you're trying to do the hustle and grind thing, you're reading the old school traditional business books like the E-Myth and Zig Ziglar's level of sales techniques. If that is not turning you on, you're not really motivated by it, you're coming home and you're drained every day, like that this is an opportunity to have better, I'm going to say, more balanced approach to business. So how can we be female business owners, especially if you are a mother, have time to yourself, also build a thriving business, and also have a good home life? And it's not necessarily that we're doing it all. It's a matter of what we're doing important to us, and how can we look into the birth chart to figure out a plan to make it happen. The new paradigm of business is also going to be people doing what they are born to do. They're on their purpose path. They're not pimping out their time and energy coming home exhausted. If that is how it's going all the time, then there's something amiss. So, like, let's look at the chart and figure out what's not exactly driving so we can just pivot. It does not mean we have to burn everything to the ground either. The divine feminine allows things to flow. It is not like, it's not working this one day, I'm going to tear everything to the ground and give up, right? So that is like a message I have for the new economy. No more pimping ourselves out. No more exploiting our life force. No more exploiting our life force in order to make money. No more selling our soul. No more doing shady business practices that are not only not aligned with our energy, but not aligned with who we are. We do not have to do that anymore. And we are also very blessed to have the internet these days. So I think it makes this more of a possibility than, say, if we were recording this in like 1989, you know?
Absolutely. And that's so interesting that you touch on that, because I do find a lot of service providers that are looking to either add teeth whitening to their business or start a full teeth whitening business from scratch. They are coming from a professional world of being drained, exhausted. They may have been put in quote unquote sketchier situations where maybe they have to bill on commission or they have to bill on per services booked. And, it puts you in a hard spot of, okay, I need to pay my bills, but then also the morality clause here. So there's so much, I feel like a lot of providers who are looking to step into offering something like teeth whitening are looking from an out of this stagnant economy and business structure that, has been built up for so long. So that's so interesting that you touched on that, because I do find that lines up perfectly. Usually, and a lot of times as we chat about it, it is females are looking to make the switch.
Right, right. And I will also say, prior to doing all this, I managed a boutique and it made $10,000 to $15,000 a month on foot traffic by itself. My boss refused to make an online store, which was challenging because 2020 happened. But my point is, because the store was so well curated and there was so much intention and love put into it, despite the fact that we were selling physical products, of course, that came from all over the world, we knew the provider, we knew what materials were being worked with. There was no sweatshop labor. The providers getting paid beyond a living wage. So how can you take that level of commitment to excellence and apply it to your teeth whitening business? So I think on Instagram the other day, you posted a reel about discerning whether like the material is used on your teeth whitening. What does organic really mean? Or, what kind of chemicals are you working with? As long as you're striving for excellence and not perfection, as long as you're communicating exactly what is going on the client's teeth, I think that's going to really help any teeth whitening specialist stand apart, because at the end of the day, you're providing excellent customer service. And again, since 2020, I have seen a very immense dip in customer service. So basically, excellence is just being like really competent and knowing how to treat your client like how you'd want to be treated. Again, someone told me that this business advice is too simple. And I'm like, we got to get back to basics because we lost it the last 4 years.
Absolutely. That is, yep, you nailed it. And it's so true. We could talk about so many different instances, where customer service or lack of safety and business protocols, et cetera, have come up. And really, at the end of the day, I think it does all just kind of tie back down to those old business models where it was just about cash flow and hard and hustle. That was all that was looked for. And then folding over into the new economy, we got to get rid of it. Like you said, back to the basics. It's not hard to do. You can have a thriving business with just some simple morality. And really, you could just say products. Like, you don't need anything crazy. You just need simple and high quality at the end of the day, and you can thrive. So this has been so much info and so, so good. So, Melanie, I know you've mentioned it a couple of times, but again, If our listeners are like, absolutely, we need to jump in and work together so I can really make sure my teeth whitening business is on track moving forward, where can they follow along? And then how can they work with you directly?
Yeah, thanks for letting me promote this. So you can find me on Instagram at I am Melanie Marisol. You can also find me on LinkedIn with the same handle as well, but I spend more time on Instagram. My free gift is available at melaниemarisol.com/gift. I might be adding some more by the time this episode goes live. And if you are interested in working with me, if you go to melaниemarisol.com, it'll list my current offerings. But yeah, the Aligned Abundance reading is my signature one, and the Year Ahead reading is the more intensive, business intensive. And that one also has a payment plan as well. So I'm excited to work with anybody who's listening to determine what is the best way that we can build this business and maybe improve it by working with your natural energies and your natural strengths. We're not trying to just do more work. It's not, that's horrible. We want to do work efficiently so we can make more money. Everyone wants to do that.
Absolutely. So, so good. Well, thanks so much, Melanie. And those of you who are listening, thanks again for listening to another episode of Whitening Wednesday.